Yo, what's going on, guys? Reversal here, and today we'll be talking about the upcoming, hopefully, ban list soon, and what I think should be on it ideally. I think we're overdue for like a massive ban list at this point, since the last few have kind of been a joke, in my opinion. Like they're just hitting they hit like snow, then they hit curious, like stuff that doesn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. And since like Darkwing Blast, especially Tearlament's just been by far the best deck. No other deck can compete with it consistently at all. And I don't see that changing in the future either. So I think it's time for some major changes on the next list. And if we don't get a ban list before Photon Hypernova, I think that format is going to be one of the worst formats in recent memory, in my opinion. Just because like the one we have now isn't good. So it's just going to introduce Kashtira, which is another pretty toxic deck, similar to Flu, in my opinion. And it's just going to become even more impossible to build the deck build for the format. Because now, like, if you're putting a bunch of Bystials and stuff in your deck for Tearlaments, that's not really going to fly after Hypernova, because like those cards aren't good versus Kashtira. And on top of it, Triple-Tastic Tasting is a card, which the Bystials are kind of bad when that card comes, because like you could Bystial Tearlaments, they could hit you with Tasking and search a instant fusion, because that's totally fair and balanced. So yeah, I'm gonna get right into it. If I own the card, I'm just gonna throw it on under the camera. If I don't, I'm still gonna talk about it. So just if you don't skim through just to see like if a card's on the mat, because there's gonna be some that I don't have. So yeah, just let's get straight into it. For the bans, I have a few cards. First, I'll talk about the one that I don't own, and that is number 89, Diablosis the Mind Hacker. I don't see Konami hitting Kashtira like before it comes out, really, like directly. So I think that card just enables that deck to do some stupid shit. So like if you take that away, they can't rip your extra deck, and then that card by itself just allows them to lock you 3 of your zones before it even becomes your turn, on top of all the other stuff it does with the extra deck rip, setting up the Arise Heart. So I think if that card was out, that deck becomes a lot more manageable. And since I'm hitting literally every deck that is relevant, I think you can't just leave Kashtira unchecked either. So that's the card I decided to hit in that deck. And I guess technically there's another one, but I don't know if this card is going to be played in that deck. But I'll just go into that one next, and that would be the Wind Barrier statue. This is more of a Fluanderies hit, since this is like the only card in that deck that's like just shouldn't be legal. This card should have been banned a long time ago probably, but it's still here. And then now the Kashtira deck can get to this through the Raid Raptor thing, the rank 7. So I think even if that wasn't an interaction, this card should still be banned. But since that is, like, this definitely has to go. Like, these kind of cards just really don't belong in the game. Next up, we got another Floodgate. It's the Scythe. This isn't doing much right now, obviously. It's really bad versus Bystials, stuff like that. But, like, we've seen in the past, like, people always just resort back to just playing this card if the format calls for it or whatever. Whether it's through Sanctum or doing like Baron to bring it back and standby, stuff like that. This like I said, this card isn't as big of a problem anymore, but like it just might as well just ban it, just get it over with, so it's never a problem again. Next up, we got Kalos. This card is just stupid. If they don't ban this card, Instant Fusion 100% has to be banned. So either or, but I think just getting rid of this card I just want Tier to be like nerfed into the ground. Personally, I don't think this deck is okay. So yeah, I think just banning this, get it over with, and that should help a lot. And there's some other Tier hits as well. since, yeah, like I said, I want this deck to be brought down a lot. It's at its time, so ban a kit. If they don't ban kit, ban instant fusion at least, please. Next up, I'm not sure if this one will happen, but call by. This card's like not great right now. It's whatever. Like, it's fine at 1 if they want to leave it there, I guess, but it's just like Saki at that point. This card shouldn't be at more than 1, but if they ban it, like, I'm cool with that too. So this is like a potential, I guess. Like, if they want to ban it, cool. If not, just leave it at 1, fine. That's it for the ban section. For the limited section, got more tier hits. Havness first off. I think this is the name that's like the most oppressive, I guess, since I don't think this being able to just use this on like turn 0 when your opponent's playing and then just start milling a bunch of cards is pretty stupid. If they ban kit, then it's like more fine, I guess, but again, just hit this deck to the ground, please. And then the other cards that I don't own anymore is the Planet, the field spell for tier. Got that going to 1, and then every Ishizu card going to 1. I think we all know Planet's a pretty crazy card. It's probably more fine if we're getting rid of the shufflers, since like those are what kind of make it even more broken, because you could just trigger a pop whenever you want. But I think that card's just too strong in general. I don't know if they'll hit the field spell, but I think they should. Because then they got the new field spell with the Kashtira, which they'll play that with the version that plays the Kashtira tier limit or whatever. So yeah, there's that. And then the Shizu cards, in my opinion, those cards should have never been printed to begin with. They're the most degenerate shit I've ever seen, almost. Like, the shufflers invalidate so many decks, it's not even funny. So yeah, I think those cards should just be at 1 at most. I'd just ban them all personally, but I don't see them doing that, so hopefully they limit them all. Because if they only like limit like 2 of them, like the OCG did, 1 of each, it doesn't really change much. You still have 4 mill 5s, 4 shufflers, it's still a lot. So yeah, I think just limiting all of them is the way to go. Then another card that invalidates a lot of decks, even though I think this gets worse after Tasking as a card and Kashtira as a deck, is Magnemute. I think this should go to 1. Because the Bystials are just really strong in general. Like I said, they get worse, I think, but Baldrake is coming out. That's another really good Bystial. And then this card is just too good. Just being able to use it as an interruption, summon it, get another free Bystial to use. Or a dragon, for that case, like Sword Soul can get Destrudo. Dragon Link can do whatever Dragon Link's doing nowadays. So yeah, I think that this card should go to 1. I don't know if it will in the next list since it's pretty new, but this card is going to go to 1 at some point. So next, now that we're done with the tier limit portion, we're going to hit a Sprite card, since I think that deck is, honestly, I think it's fine, but like, if you're hitting every other deck, you can't just not hit something in Sprite. So I think Starter's the obvious choice. I think hitting like a blue or a jet down is just kind of stupid. And then like limiting Elf is gigantic. I think those are just kind of stupid too. So I think just limit Starter, because this is 1 card combo. It's really broken card, to be honest. So you can throw that to 1. And then I think Sprite is honestly fine, just if you do just that alone. I don't think they need another hit. But I guess this is not really a Sprite hit, but I think something in Runic should be limited. Whether you want to limit the Fountain, more for the stun variant, or if you want to limit Tip, so you limit like Runic more as an engine, like to use in Sprite, for example. But I think if one of those should be limited, just because that engine, if the shufflers and stuff are gone, I think it could end up being a problem again. So yeah, Fountain for the stun version, Tip for as a splashable engine, whatever, or do both for all I care. I don't care. And then finally for the limits, we got Branded Fusion. This deck is getting a lot of support soon, and I think it's gonna be pretty crazy, more so as like a going first deck. I think the issue with this deck right now, or even when the support comes, is that it's gonna have a really hard time going second into like Kashtira and other decks that don't lose to Bystials, since Bystials are really all this deck plays for going second cards for the most part. But I think this deck is super strong if like Bystials and Shufflers come out of the meta a little more. So like that's what your plays are a lot more vulnerable to, like the branded spell and traps and stuff like that. So I think this card should just be a 1, just so you can't just keep using branded fusions like every turn. They still have plenty of ways to access it turn 1, so it's like fine at 1. I think this card, like in a vacuum, is just way too strong, similar to how Fusion Destiny was, sort of. But yeah, it's just another, like I said, we're hitting every deck that's relevant, so can't ignore this one because this deck gets crazy with the new support too. That's it for the limits. Semi-limits, I got a couple. This is one I don't really see happening since it's new, but I think Fenrir is just a card that probably belongs at 2. Just because like it being able to search itself is nice, just to get a free +1. I could see this card going to 1 at some point too, but I think for now it's like, other than the Mind Hacker that I banned, I think like this is a reasonable Kashtira card to hit, since it's a generic staple too. It's not just a Kashtira card. Like it's just a good, like you could just special this for free, going first or going second, whatever, in any deck. So it's just really good on its own outside of Kashtira. And then for the other semi-limit, I got Pankratops. This card recently went to 3 in Master Duel, or it got announced that it's going to 3. So it's been at 2 for a while in there. I think like going second in general, I think could use some help. And I think pink to 2 would be cool to see. It might be too good at 2, but I think it'd be fine probably. But yeah, that's it for the semi-limits. I didn't want to really bother too much with stuff coming off the list, since like a lot of it generally doesn't really matter if it comes off, unless they like bring something back, like Snow for example, that just should have never came back, and then just ruin stuff even more. So yeah, I didn't really want to do any like meaningless add backs or anything like that, but there is one card I want to talk about that needs to get changed on the list, and that is my boy Miscellaneousaurus. This card should not be at 1. This card should have never been at 1. Dinos were doing pretty much nothing when it went to 1. It had like random tops and like tournaments, like 1 random top like every now and then. That's it. Like the deck's still super fragile with it at 1 or at 3. Going first. This card helps the deck so much going second, which would be nice because going second's really hard right now in general. So just give us the boy back to 3 or 2. I mean, I'll take 2, but yeah, anything more than 1 would be very welcome. I think I speak for all Dino players when I say that. So yeah, that's gonna be it for my wish list, I guess. I feel like a lot of these hits are realistic. I think some people might say it went a little too harsh on tier, but I think it's not harsh enough, to be honest, since it's probably still going to be playable to some degree. I don't think it'll be like super meta, but as we saw in the OCG, which I don't think is a good reference at all, just to throw that out there, but they have all these hits and it's still like the top deck over there somehow. But it's only like that because they literally murdered every single other relevant deck, like, so take that with a grain of salt. But I think even with all these hits, like, you could still play tier to like a rogue status, maybe, I don't know, with King of the Swamp. So like, I don't know, that deck just needs to get out of the format though. I'm sick of it. I know a lot of people are sick of it. If the next list isn't before Hypernova, I'm probably just gonna continue just barely playing to be honest, since this shit is not enjoyable to me. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the ban list. I think it'll come probably in a week. If not, probably not until the end of February, which would be terrible. Like I said, format will be really bad if there's no ban list, and we have to deal with cache tier at full power, tier at full power. It's just going to be impossible to deck build and cover what you need to cover. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with. Drop a sub, like if you want. And until next time, see you. Have a good day.